It's 2:47 a.m., and I'm sitting in my car outside a gas station, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles ache. I haven't gone inside yet. I haven't moved. I don't even know why I ended up here. Maybe because it's the only place still open. Maybe because I needed somewhere that wasn't home, because home doesn't feel like home anymore. I should start at the beginning. I'm Noah, 34, and up until a few weeks ago, I had what most people would call a good life. A solid career in software development, a cozy house in a neighborhood where the kids ride bikes in the street, and a wife, Ava, 32, who was my best friend. She was the type of person who made strangers feel like family. The type who made life seem lighter. For 6 years, we built this life together. We had our morning rituals. She liked her coffee black. I drowned mine in cream and sugar. She worked as a pediatric nurse, so she was always running on too little sleep and too much caffeine. She wanted a family more than anything, and after a while, so did I. But it wasn't that simple. We spent 2 years trying naturally. Nothing. Doctors said it was unexplained infertility, which is the medical way of saying you're out of luck, and we don't know why. So we turned to IVF. Ava threw herself into the process, hormones, appointments, research, spreadsheets. She said she didn't want me to worry about the details. "You've got enough stress with work," she'd say. "I'll handle the logistics." I trusted her. Because why wouldn't I? When we got the call that the embryo transfer was successful, we cried together, holding each other so tightly I thought we might break. I thought this was it. The start of something beautiful. God, I was so wrong. It all started unraveling with a single mistake. A week ago, I was doing something completely normal, going through our insurance statements, just double-checking that everything was covered for the delivery. Ava was out with a friend, so I had the house to myself. I was sitting at the dining table, flipping through pages, my dog Rex curled at my feet. Then I saw it. A patient ID number on one of the medical bills that didn't match mine. I blinked, assuming I was seeing it wrong. Cross-checked it with the clinic paperwork I had saved. No match. A sinking feeling took over my gut. Maybe it was a mistake, a clerical error. That happens, right? But something gnawed at me. I logged into the IVF portal, something I rarely did because Ava had always handled it. I scrolled through the records, my hands feeling like ice. And then, my heart stopped. The embryo they transferred? It wasn't mine. The donor ID wasn't linked to me at all. It was someone else entirely. I sat there, staring at the screen, my vision blurring at the edges. No, this had to be wrong. It had to be a mix-up at the clinic. I called the IVF center first thing in the morning. The receptionist transferred me to someone higher up, someone who suddenly sounded very nervous when I explained what I'd found. There was a donor substitution, she said, voice careful. A what? I asked, my voice eerily calm. The records indicate that Ava signed consent forms to use a different donor. My brain struggled to process that. Different donor? I repeated, as if saying the words might make them make sense. The woman hesitated. Yes, she approved the change in writing. I felt something in my chest crack open. She didn't tell me, I said, my own voice sounding foreign. She never told me. There was a long silence on the other end. I'm so sorry, Mr. Carter. I hung up. I sat in my car for an hour, staring at nothing. My wife, the person I trusted most in this world, had made a decision that erased me from my own child's life. She had sat across from me every night at dinner, slept beside me, let me dream about a future with a child that wasn't even mine. And she never once told me. I finally drove home, my body moving on autopilot. When I walked inside, Ava was in the kitchen, humming softly while making tea. When she saw me, she smiled. That same, familiar smile. Hey, babe, she said. You're home early. I just stood there, gripping the doorway, trying to keep my voice steady. Who is he? I asked. The words sliced through the air, sharp and unforgiving. Her smile faltered. What? The donor. My jaw clenched. Who the hell is he? Her entire body stiffened. That was all the confirmation I needed. She knew. She knew exactly what I was talking about. I watched as her hands trembled slightly, her fingers tightening around the edge of the counter. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. And in that moment, something between us broke. Something that could never be put back together. Ava's lips parted like she was about to say something, but no sound came out. I stood there, waiting. The air between us thickened, pressing against my ribs, making it harder to breathe. Who is he? I repeated, my voice low, dangerous. She swallowed hard. Noah, It's not what you think. I let out a hollow laugh. Oh? Because what I think is that you went behind my back and used another man's DNA to create the child I thought was mine. So please, Ava, tell me what I'm supposed to think. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Her face crumpled. I never meant to hurt you. Too late, I said flatly. Tell me the truth. Who is he? Silence. A second too long. A second too much. And then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it. Oliver. A strange sensation settled in my stomach. The name meant nothing to me. Oliver who? She squeezed her eyes shut. When she opened them again, I saw something new behind them, fear. Oliver Marks. The words hit me like a slap. I took a step back, knocking into the dining chair behind me. I gripped it hard to keep from falling over. I knew that name. Oliver Marks. My best friend. My former best friend. The man who had stood beside me at my wedding. The man who had been in our house for dinner more times than I could count. The man I had trusted. My breath came in sharp bursts. My mind was already reeling, but now it was spiraling into something worse. You chose Oliver? My voice was barely a whisper. She shook her head wildly. It's not like that. Then what the hell is it like, Ava? I shouted, my voice cracking. She flinched but held her ground. I wanted the best genes for our baby. And Oliver, he's smart, he's healthy, he has no family history of illness. I barked out a bitter laugh. And he's someone you used to love? Her mouth snapped shut. That silence was my answer. A sick, horrifying realization slithered into my mind. This wasn't just about genes. This wasn't about giving our child the best start. She wanted his child, not mine. I turned away, pressing my hands against my face, trying to stop the shaking. The whole room felt like it was spinning. You were never going to tell me, were you? I said, my voice hollow. I was going to, she whispered. I didn't know how. A dark laugh ripped through me. Right. Because there's no good way to say, hey, honey, the baby you've been dreaming about? He's actually my ex's. Ava wiped at her eyes, but I didn't care. Not anymore. The woman standing in front of me wasn't the woman I had married. The betrayal settled into my bones, cold and final. I turned toward the door. Noah, please, she cried, grabbing my arm. I love you. I chose you. I married you. We built this life together. That has to count for something. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And I felt nothing but rage. You didn't choose me, Ava. My voice was low, barely controlled. You chose him. And now you're just hoping I'll be dumb enough to clean up the mess. I yanked my arm free and walked out the door. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew one thing for sure. I would never look at her the same way again. I drove aimlessly for hours, the city lights blurring into streaks of color through my windshield. My mind was a war zone, explosions of memory and realization colliding at every turn. Oliver. Ava. The child I thought was mine. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white, trying to breathe, trying to stay in control. But how the hell do you stay in control when everything you built, everything you trusted, is suddenly a lie? Eventually, I found myself parked outside an old diner on the edge of town, the neon, open 24 hours sign buzzing in the silence. I didn't even remember pulling in. I stepped inside, the smell of burnt coffee and grease hitting me immediately. A waitress, probably in her 50s, looked up from behind the counter and gave me a once-over. You look like you've seen a ghost, she said, pouring coffee into a chipped mug. I sat at the counter without a word, letting the heat of the coffee warm my frozen hands. I wasn't sure how long I sat there, staring at the swirling liquid, before my phone buzzed on the counter. Ava. I let it ring. Then another call. And another. I finally flipped it over and saw the messages. Ava, please come home. We need to talk. Ava, I know you're hurt, but I love you. I didn't do this to betray you. Ava, please, Noah, don't shut me out like this. Ava, just come back. Please. And then, the one that nearly made me crush my phone in my fist. Oliver, I know you're upset, but we need to talk. I inhaled sharply, my grip tightening. The audacity. The nerve of him to reach out, as if he was the victim in all of this. I stared at the screen, my rage boiling over. And then I made a decision. I needed to look him in the eye. I needed to hear him say it. It wasn't hard to find him. I knew where he lived, hell. I'd helped him move into his condo last year. It was in one of those upscale high-rises downtown, all sleek glass and security cameras. By the time I reached his building, I wasn't even thinking anymore. Just acting. Moving. Like something inside me had snapped. I parked haphazardly in the visitor lot, and took the elevator up to the 14th floor. My reflection in the elevator doors was a stranger, wild eyes, clenched jaw, fist ready to break something. When I reached his door, I didn't knock. I pounded. A few seconds later, Oliver opened the door, looking as if he'd been expecting me. He didn't look scared. He didn't even look guilty. Just resigned. "Noah," he said cautiously. I stepped forward, shoving him back into his own apartment. He stumbled slightly before regaining his balance. "Talk," I said, slamming the door behind me. "Now." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I was hoping Ava would tell you first." I laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "She tell me? So what? You just sit back and let her lie to my face for months." His jaw tightened. "I didn't know she hadn't told you. I assumed she had." "Bullshit. Noah, I swear, Why, Oliver?" I cut him off, my voice raw. "Why the hell would you do this?" He exhaled slowly, like he was choosing his words carefully. She came to me months ago. Told me about the fertility issues. She said she wanted our child to have the best chance, and she asked if I'd be willing to. I felt something inside me snap. Our child. My voice was barely a whisper, but it carried the full weight of my fury. Oliver swallowed hard, finally looking uneasy. I took a step closer. "You mean your child, don't you?" Silence. I let out a hollow laugh. "Jesus Christ. Ava didn't just want good genetics. She wanted you. She wanted a child with you. And you let her. You let her take that from me." He rubbed a hand over his face. "It wasn't like that, man." "Then what the hell was it like?" He hesitated, then sighed. "I won't lie to you. We had a connection, once. You knew that. Maybe some part of her still." He trailed off, shaking his head. "But she chose you, Noah. She married you. She loves you." I took another step toward him, my fist clenching at my sides. "Loves me?" I spat. "She went behind my back and made a child with another man, my best friend, and you want to tell me she loves me?" Oliver paled but didn't back down. "I never meant for this to happen." I shook my head, laughing bitterly. "You never meant for this to happen? What the hell does that even mean? Did she force you into it? Hold a gun to your head? Or did you just not give a damn about what it would do to me?" He flinched at that, but I wasn't done. "You had a choice, Oliver. And you chose to betray me. You chose to take everything I had and burn it to the ground." His lips pressed into a thin line. "I didn't take anything from you, Noah. She's still your wife. That baby is not mine." I cut him off. "And it never will be." A tense silence filled the room. Then Oliver sighed. "I'm sorry." I stared at him for a long time, breathing heavily, my vision edged with red. Then I turned around and walked out. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Because I knew, without a doubt, that everything between us, all the years of friendship, the trust, the memories, was dead. And I was never coming back. I didn't go home. Home wasn't home anymore. Instead, I drove. No destination, no plan, just me, the road, and the sickening weight pressing down on my chest. I tried to convince myself that I wasn't crumbling, that I still had control. But the truth was, the moment I walked out of Oliver's apartment, something inside me had shattered beyond repair. Ava had taken away my choice. Oliver had taken away my trust. And now I was left with nothing but a hollow, burning emptiness. My phone buzzed on the passenger seat. I ignored it. I already knew who it was. Ava had been calling all night, probably panicking now that she knew I had confronted Oliver. She should panic. Eventually, I found myself in front of the only place that still felt real, my brother Liam's house. I killed the engine, gripping the steering wheel for a long moment before forcing myself out of the car. Liam answered the door in his sweatpants, blinking blearily at me. "Dude, it's almost midnight." Then he looked at my face and sobered instantly. "What happened?" I exhaled slowly. "Ava lied to me." He stepped aside immediately. "Come in." I walked in, my shoulders sagging with exhaustion, and collapsed onto his couch. Rex, my dog, was still in the car. I'd have to get him later, but right now, I didn't have the energy to move. Liam sat across from me, his expression serious. "Tell me everything." So I did. I told him about the insurance paperwork, the clinic's confession, and the moment Ava admitted the truth. I told him about Oliver, how my best friend had been a part of this from the start, how he had looked me in the eye and tried to justify it. By the time I was done, Liam looked like he was about to break something. "You're ing kidding me," he said, running a hand through his hair. "Oliver? Oliver." I just nodded, staring at the floor. "And Ava, she really thought she'd get away with this?" He scoffed. What the hell was she thinking? She wasn't, I muttered. Or maybe she was. Maybe this was what she wanted all along. Liam let out a sharp breath. You staying here tonight? Yeah. Good. He stood up. I'm grabbing us a drink. Because I swear to God, I need one after hearing that. I let out a weak laugh, but it wasn't real. Nothing felt real anymore. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of my phone vibrating on the coffee table. I groaned, rubbing my eyes before reluctantly checking the screen. Ava, 20 missed calls. Ava, please, Noah. Just come home so we can talk. Ava, I love you. I know you're angry, but we can fix this. Ava, I'll do anything. Just don't shut me out like this. Ava, please. You don't have to raise him if you don't want to. But I don't want to lose you. I stared at the last message for a long time. I don't want to lose you. Not I'm sorry for what I did. Not I regret it. Not I made a mistake. She just didn't want to lose me. Like I was some possession she thought she could hold on to, even after everything. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Ava. It was Oliver. Oliver, I meant what I said last night. We need to talk. Oliver, I never wanted to hurt you. Oliver, but you have to understand Ava's side, too. It's not as black and white as you think. I stared at his name, disgust curling in my stomach. Understand Ava's side? Was he *****ing serious? I tossed my phone onto the table and got up. I needed air. Liam was already in the kitchen, making coffee. She's still blowing up your phone? Both of them are. His jaw tightened. Unbelievable. I grabbed a mug, trying to focus on the simple act of drinking coffee instead of the storm raging in my head. But I couldn't escape it. I needed to do something. I needed a plan. Liam, I said slowly. I want a paternity test. He blinked at me. I mean, yeah, obviously. But what are you hoping to get out of it? I swallowed hard. Proof. I want proof that I have nothing to do with that child. I don't care what Ava says. I need it in writing. Official. No loopholes. Liam studied me for a moment, then nodded. All right. Let's make it happen. The hardest part was getting Ava to agree. At first, she resisted. Ava, you don't need a test, Noah. You already know. Me, then there shouldn't be a problem. Ava, it just feels unnecessary. I don't want to go through all that just to prove something we both already know. Me, I'm not asking, Ava. Either you agree, or I take legal action. That finally got her attention. She caved. We scheduled the test at a private clinic. I barely spoke to her the entire time. She kept looking at me like she wanted to say something, but I refused to meet her eyes. I didn't trust myself to. When it was over, she reached for my hand. Noah, please. I pulled away. Don't. She flinched. I still love you. I stared at her, at the woman I had once thought I would grow old with, and felt absolutely nothing. You loved me, I corrected. Before you decided I wasn't good enough. Then I walked away. The results came in 3 days later. Liam sat beside me as I opened the email. Paternity result, 0% match. I closed the email. My hands were steady. My heart was steady. It was real now. Official. That child was not mine. And I was finally free. Freedom. That was what I should have felt when I saw those test results. 0% match. No legal ties. No responsibility. No reason to stay. But instead of relief, there was just emptiness. Liam watched me carefully as I closed the email. You okay? I exhaled slowly. I don't know. Because how do you process something like this? How do you accept that the life you thought you were living, the one you built, the one you trusted, was never yours to begin with? Liam squeezed my shoulder. At least now there's no question. No way she can manipulate you into staying. I nodded. But I wasn't thinking about Ava in that moment. I was thinking about the baby. The child who had no idea he was at the center of this mess. No idea his mother had rewritten his story before he even took his first breath. It wasn't his fault. But it wasn't my problem either. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. Ava showed up at my door the next evening. I almost didn't answer. But something inside me wanted to see the look on her face when I told her. I opened the door to find her standing there, eyes rimmed with red, arms wrapped around herself like she was trying to hold herself together. She hesitated before speaking. Did you get the results? I leaned against the door frame. Yeah, got them this morning. Her hands clenched at her sides. And I narrowed my eyes at her. And you already know. Her breath hitched. 0%. Ava, I continued, my voice calm but ice cold. 0. She bit her lips so hard I thought it might bleed. Noah, please. I shook my head. Stop. I made a mistake, she whispered. A horrible, horrible mistake. But I love you. I still love you. I stared at her. At the desperation in her eyes, at the way she was trembling. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel love, either. I just felt done. You don't love me, I said simply. You love the version of me who didn't know the truth. The one who would have raised that child without questioning it. But that version of me doesn't exist anymore. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Noah, I never wanted to hurt you. But you did. Silence stretched between us. Finally, I exhaled. I filed for divorce this morning. She sucked in a sharp breath, eyes widening. What? You heard me. I kept my voice steady. My lawyer will contact you with the details. I don't want anything from you. And I don't owe you anything, either. She shook her head violently. No, we can fix this. We can do. There's nothing to fix, Ava, I interrupted. There's nothing left. She reached for my hand, and this time, I let her touch me. But I felt nothing. I don't know how to do this without you, she choked out. I gave her a sad, empty smile. You should have thought about that before you replaced me. Then I closed the door in her face. I thought that was the end of it. I really did. But 2 days later, Oliver showed up at my work. I was stepping out for lunch when I saw him leaning against my car in the parking lot, arms crossed, face unreadable. The sight of him sent a fresh wave of disgust through me. I kept walking like I didn't see him. Noah, he called. I ignored him. Noah, just wait. I reached my car and unlocked the door, but before I could open it, he stepped in front of me. I clenched my jaw. Move. He didn't. Just hear me out, man. I exhaled sharply, forcing myself to stay calm. You've got 30 seconds. He hesitated, then sighed. I didn't know she never told you. If I had, I wouldn't have gone through with it. I scoffed. Oh, that makes it better. I'm serious, he insisted. I thought you were on board. I thought. You thought what? Oliver? My voice dropped. That I'd be cool with my best friend fathering my wife's child behind my back? He had the audacity to look guilty. I didn't see it that way, he admitted. But I get it now. I stared at him. No, you don't. You never will. He sighed again, rubbing a hand over his face. Look, I didn't come here to fight. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I tilted my head. Sorry for what, exactly? He hesitated. For not questioning it. For not realizing how messed up it was. For what it did to me. Or for what it did to you. I cut in, watching his expression carefully. And there it was, that flicker of hesitation. He wasn't just sorry for me. He was sorry for himself. Sorry that Ava had shattered everything between us. Sorry that he had to deal with the fallout. I shook my head. Unbelievable. Noah, come on. I opened my car door. Go to hell, Oliver. Then I drove away. I didn't look back. I thought it was over after that. But then Ava's mother called me. I almost didn't answer. But something told me I should. I put the phone to my ear. Hello? Her voice was tight, panicked. Noah, you need to come to the hospital. My stomach dropped. What? Why? It's Ava. She sounded on the verge of tears. Something's wrong with the baby. I stood frozen, my breath caught in my throat. Ava wasn't my wife anymore. That wasn't my child. And yet, I grabbed my keys and ran out the door. I broke every speed limit getting to the hospital. I didn't know why. Ava wasn't my wife anymore. That wasn't my child. I had no reason to be here. And yet, I was. The second I walked through the hospital doors, I spotted Ava's mother pacing near the maternity ward. She looked up and gasped when she saw me, rushing forward like she had been waiting for me all along. Noah, thank God, you came. I clenched my jaw. What happened? Her eyes brimmed with tears. She started having contractions too early. The doctors are trying to stop them, but... She took a shaky breath. They're not sure if they can. I rubbed a hand over my face, forcing myself to stay calm. Where is she? In there. She motioned toward the double doors leading to the labor and delivery wing. They won't let anyone in but the father. My stomach twisted. Then why am I here? She grabbed my arm, her grip surprisingly strong. Because she asked for you, Noah. I stiffened. Ava wants you, she pleaded. Not Oliver. You. I swallowed hard. Why? Tears spilled down her cheeks. Because she knows she messed up. Because she's terrified. Because her voice cracked. Because no matter what happened, you were always the one who made her feel safe. I let that sink in. Even now, after all the lies, all the betrayal, Ava still thought I would save her. I looked at the doors, at the life I had walked away from. And then, against every instinct I had, I pushed through them. The moment I stepped into the room, I saw her. Ava was lying on the hospital bed, pale and trembling, an oxygen mask pressed against her face. The monitors beside her beeped in rapid succession, tracking the stress her body was under. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Noah," she breathed. I hesitated, but then I moved to her side. She reached for my hand. And for some reason, I let her take it. "I'm scared," she whispered. I stared at her, at the woman I had once loved, the woman who had broken me in ways I never thought possible. And despite everything, despite the gaping wounds between us, I felt a flicker of something else. Not love. Not forgiveness. Just the weight of history. I squeezed her hand. "You're going to be okay." Tears streamed down her face. "And the baby?" I hesitated. "The doctors will do everything they can." Ava sobbed, gripping my hand like it was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. The next hour was a blur. Nurses rushed in and out. Doctors murmured things I barely understood. The contractions weren't stopping. The baby was coming early, too early. Ava's mother had been right. This baby, the one I swore I had no connection to, was fighting for his life. And I was here. When it was over, when the chaos settled, when the doctors finally placed a tiny, crying baby in Ava's arms, I stood frozen. Ava looked up at me, her face streaked with sweat and tears. "He's beautiful," she whispered. I didn't say anything. Because he was. Too small, too fragile, but alive. And somehow, against all logic, against every reason I had to walk away, my heart ached for him. This wasn't my child. But at that moment, he felt like mine. I don't know how long I stood there before I forced myself to move. I looked at Ava one last time. And then, I turned and walked away. For good. That was the last time I saw her. A week later, I signed the final divorce papers. A month later, I packed up the last of my things from the house we once shared. And 6 months later, I was standing in my new apartment, watching Rex chase his tail, realizing that for the first time in a long time, I was free. Truly free. Ava reached out once, a single message. "Ava, I understand why you left. But I just wanted you to know, he's okay." I stared at the screen for a long time before deleting the message. Because the truth was, I didn't need to know. That chapter of my life was over. And I was never looking back.